KUTV this morning on Rise Today, and specifically Biashara Tuesday on this 11th day of February 2025. It is International Day of Women and Girls in Science. Actually, it is the 10th anniversary, and that also sets the base for us for the discussions that we are going to have later on during this engagement this morning, because we'll be talking about women in leadership. And our guest, Consolata, is already in studio. You've seen her before, so she's not a new face. Here on Rise Today, Biashara Tuesday, we'll be having that interesting conversation. But first, before we get into the details of that conversation, what is happening in your world, in the world of business? Because this is Biashara Tuesday, and we're here to inform you on what is going around your world. So first thing first, following the directives by the Central Bank of Kenya on the rates, or the lending rates, there are several banks that are already lowering their rates, including Cooperative Bank lowering their rate on the money lended to their consumers or to their customers. It's a good thing for the economy because it's going to increase money circulating within our pockets. So if you wanted to get a loan, this is your time, because the rates are currently lowering. So in also still in the lending of loans, it is also good for the small businesses who are encouraged to get into that also. And also, just to give you a view of what affects your businesses in the political world or the policy makings, there's also a lot that has been happening in our country in the world of politics, which seems to be affecting how we do our businesses. And that includes the highly awaited debate today, where members of parliament will be resuming session, and we are really expecting to see if they are going to adhere to the ruling by the court of the term Azimio as the majority in the parliament. So that is something that we are expecting today, and we don't know whether Mili will be sitting on the majority side, or whether Osoro will be giving up his position as the majority whip, or whether Kimani Ichung'wah will also be giving up his position as the majority leader in parliament. These are things that also affect our decision making, and it's also important for you to follow up with them, and we shall be keeping you informed on that also, as we'll be going in the segment of newspaper review. And also onto still in politics, that has been happening in our country. Raila is expected. We are entering the home stretch of AUC election. The elections are supposed to be happening on Saturday. And it's something that, as Kenyans, if Raila wins the AUC election, we expect it to cause a shift in our country, both in the world of economics, politics, socially, because it's also going to shape how our political temperatures or landscape are going to be in this country. So as he enters the home stretch, finalizing his campaign, several MPs will be traveling with him to Addis Ababa for the same. So we are also having our eyes on that, seeing how it will affect us as a country, not just politically, but how will our businesses be affected by his election? How will we benefit, or how will we lose when he becomes AUC chair? And also, just to mention, I mentioned earlier that we'll be having a discussion on women in leadership. It is a Women's Day, women in tech and industries. So today we are joined by Consolata Waweru, who is a youth leader in Laikipia County. Actually, she's aspiring to be a women rep come 2027. It's a good thing for young leaders. Today, specifically, we want to be looking at challenges. Most of the time, we are used to be talking about challenges that women face, and women putting themselves as victims of the current regime and everything that is happening in the world of politics, in leadership, in corporate spaces. Today is a different day. We want to look at what is positive about women in leadership, the milestones that women have made, those who are before us. What did they do to help us come this far? Women are now CEOs, women are now HRs, women are now taking up spaces politically and in businesses. There are women owning oil companies, owning shares in bigger companies. So it's something that we need to focus more on the positive side. And you know, as studies show, that companies and governments with diverse leadership perform better. So this is a message to HRs and CEOs and the managers. Diversification of the workplace ensures that there is better performance in business. And all this is because most women focus on education, social issues, and they politicize them. They push for these agendas. That's why they are considered more effective. I don't know what your opinion is about women in leadership. So today, engage with us on our social media platforms, YouTube and on X at KUTV_Kenya. And remember to tag us #Biashara Tuesday, KUTV Rise Today. And before we continue, today we are asking the question, who is the woman leader that inspires you, and why her? And why her? Why did you choose her? Most of the people say that their mothers are their role models. Their mothers inspire them in this journey of leadership, depending on what they saw during their upbringing. So this is something that you are going to have. So talk to us. Tell us, who is the woman that you look up to? Who is the woman that inspires you? Who is that woman that you look at and you're like, yeah, this is a power woman. This is a fire woman. Send us those feedback and we will be sampling them and reading them as we continue. Consolata is already in studio and we'll be having that in a while. And also on the newspaper review, we have several newspapers right here with me this morning. The Standard, and they have a big headline there. Biased speaker. I've already mentioned that the court ruled Azimio being the majority in parliament. So will he resign, as he is holding two positions, which is illegal according to our constitution? So will he resign on one, or we expect to see that happening today. On the Daily Nation, we have agony for youth after Ruto's visit. This is after 50 suspects were arrested in a police crackdown in Isiolo town. And we are not sure if this is following the chants Ruto must go during his address, or it's indeed a crackdown on drugs and alcohol. You know, these days when you criticize the government, you have to be keen. Now, waliambiwa wazime simu hawakusikia. So that is something we'll also be having on our newspaper review with several other stories. And on the Business Daily, we have fake goods alert as 9.6 million KRA revenue stamps stolen. So there is the fear of us having fake goods in the market because stamps zinaibiwa apparently at KRA. So we are not sure of the legitimacy of goods that you're having. I won't forget to mention that this is a lovers week. Let me lower my tone on that, because najua hii itaguza wengi. And actually, you see, we are also in the mood. This is not actually red for the people who are colorblind. This is maroon. So it is a lovers week. I'm sorry for the single people. You will shine in the next coming years. But we also have the Standard, highlight, not the Standard. It is the Daily Nation, a celebration of love and connection and all that about love. So we have that. I read somewhere that someone was saying that I just saw my nonchalant ex-boyfriend carrying flowers, and she was wondering what happened. So it is a week of a lot around love. For the single people, I won't say for us single people, but we expect you guys to make your messages short as you caption your partners when you post them. Keep them short because the economy is tough, mambo ni mengi, and we are here to see the move forward. So before we get into of the discussions that you're having this morning, let's shift to the roads and the weather. All right, now let's take a look at our weather situation across the country. And today, let me begin with my home people, Homa Bay County. It is now 21 degrees, and it feels like 21 degrees. They'll be receiving highs of 30 degrees Celsius throughout the day. That is around 2 for Homa Bay, because every time I go home, every time I'm in Homa Bay, it's always when I come back, I'm always asked, na umekuwa mweusi. So there's a thing with jua ya Homa Bay, and it's in the morning, it's 7:40, but it's 21 degrees Celsius. So that is quite high, but let's shift to the Rift Valley in Eldoret. It's now 15 degrees Celsius and it feels like 14 degrees Celsius. They'll be receiving highs of 26 degrees Celsius at around 2 p.m., 3 p.m. And there is no sign of precipitation. So it will just be a cool weather without precipitation. And moving on to the coast, that is Mombasa. I was complaining about Homa Bay, Jesus Christ. Mombasa, it's now 27 degrees Celsius, and it feels like 30 degrees Celsius. The people who are living in Mombasa, I don't know. Anyway, let's used to living their life, and they'll be expecting highs of 32 degrees Celsius. That is also at around noon, and 1 p.m. the highs will be at 32 degrees Celsius. No sign of precipitation. So it is a day that tulia na kaptura, tembea, siku ya kubarizi. Coming back here at home in Nairobi, it is 16 degrees Celsius, quite a good weather because it's not too cold, too hot. It's just somewhere there, and we'll be expecting highs of 27 degrees Celsius. That is around 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. and there's also no sign of precipitation, so hakuna haja ya kubeba umbrella because the weather is quite okay. Now moving on to Kisumu, before watu wa Kisumu wanimalize, it is 22 degrees Celsius, feels like 22 degrees Celsius, and they'll be receiving highs of 32 degrees Celsius also, just like Mombasa. And today there are no signs of precipitation. I know Kisumu people, Homa Bay people, Mombasa people, we are used to such temperatures, so today it's a good day. Hakuna sign of convectional rainfall falling around 1 p.m. So it's a good day. So most of the regions, it's high temperatures. Nakuru also, it's that temperature. No sign of rainfall, just the temperatures between 15 degrees Celsius to 32 degrees Celsius. Now, let's shift gears to our roads. Today I came from Zimmerman, and at around 6 a.m. the traffic is quite okay, not so much going on, so it is okay. But as I look on a Thika Road from Kenyatta University main campus all the way to Githurai, it is quite, there's a lot of red on the traffic, so that means it's quite heavy. And then past there from Githurai, it's a little bit moving because it's yellow. Around TRM, that is around Roysambo, the roundabout, it's always heavy. But today on Kamiti Road, kuna mahali panaitwa Mirema. This, I don't know what normally happens with Mirema. Kuna watu tu kuwa na kiburi around that place. So as normal, watu wa Mirema going to town, that place is packed. But if watu wanatoka Kasarani also, that is quite, it's not that heavy because it's yellow, it's showing yellow, so it's good. Thika Road people, it's not good on your side as you go to Nairobi because all the way to Muthaiga from KCA, from Outer Ring, it's a heavy traffic there. So if you can use other alternative routes, that will be okay. And also watu wanatoka Langata going to town, it's also not good. Langata Road is also on heavy traffic. So if you can find other routes, that will be okay. So that's on our traffic and other routes that the routes entering Nairobi Expressway, most of them are not that heavily, the traffic is not that high, but it's moving because there is a lot of yellow, a little bit of red. So that means if you're coming from town and the routes that I've mentioned, it's okay if you use other routes. And the people also coming from Gikomba Market entering town, your route is also having traffic, so you can use other alternatives like using Lusaka Road, which is clear. So that is on our traffic update. We take a very short break. We come back with a discussion on women in leadership. Remember to tell us who inspires you, Who is that woman that inspires you? Maybe she's normal, maybe Ali pass, but also the footsteps that she left, the legacy that she left. If that is what inspires you, tell us on our social media platforms. We are live on KUTV Kenya, and also you can engage with us on Twitter at KUTV_Kenya. See you after the break.
So my name is Jakub Petri. I'm Associate Professor in the Institute of Philosophy of Jagiellonian University in Krakow, Poland. And I'm the main coordinator of the Cafe project, which is being here hosted by Kenyatta University.
My name is Eva Hudoba. I am a project manager in this consortium. Keep watching cutting-edge research at Kenyatta University Television.
Access to knowledge, solution to unanswered questions.
Guidelines to pursuing your rights and repossessing your property, intellectual or material.
This and more only on Law Matters.
Maelfu na maelfu ya wahamiaji wakiwa na watoto kutoka nchi za Amerika ya Kati wanaendelea kuwasili kwenye mpaka kati ya Marekani na Mexico.
But folks, I'm going. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Ni habari kutoka pembe zote duniani.
Pepo pasi vuguvugu, pepo pa ni idea.
Sazidi ananyonya, hanyonyi vizuri, anakuwa hayuko comfortable.
Jeshi la Jamhuri ya Kidemokrasia ya Kongo linapambana na waasi wa ADF.
Kwa sasa wanatoa wito kwa mashirika, makampuni na vile vituo vya uchukuzi.
Mambo mengi yatakwenda kama yalivyopangwa.
Hapa ni kuna mmoja wa viongozi wa chama cha wavuvi katika eneo hili.
Zaidi tunajaribu kuwapa chanjo ili ina boost ama inanyanyua kinga ya mwili, hiyo inaenda kupelekea kupambana na virusi.
Ni duniani leo, Jumatatu mpaka Ijumaa, moja kwa moja kutoka VOA Swahili, Washington DC.
Hi, my name is Stella Tioi.
Jina langu naitwa Okemwa Mkwa James.
This is Mandela Gaya.
Ugonjwa ulipokuja ulichukua siku 3 ukaniweka in coma. 20 wamezikwa, 2 ndio wako hai.
I don't even know how it feels to see.
I feel like I cannot express myself well the way somebody who can walk can actually express themselves.
Ilichukua muda mwingi mrefu tena mpana ili kuikubali kwamba mimi siwezi tembea tena.
I've come to actually accept myself.
Ukijaribu kumsimamisha mtu umwambie tafadhali nionyeshe njia,
they find it quite strange talking to you.
You should just make schools integrated,
inclusive setups
by providing the right facilities. Imagine a world where you are empowered to take charge of your health, where you are well informed about the latest advancements in healthcare and understand the policies that impact your well-being. Get ready to take charge of matters your health as we bring you a blend of weekly health features that engage professionals from across various medical fields.
When do you decide as a patient, do I need to go see the doctor? We are at a stage where we are seeing all this manner of chronic illnesses, and we wait until we get a disease, and then is when we go ahead.
From the most mundane to the complexities that perhaps seem overwhelming, we got you covered.
In terms of the factors that might be attributed, there are hereditary factors that means it could be genetic, so that's one factor. But there are other factors as well, like nutritional deficiencies. So some vitamins such as folate have been identified to be a factor in those. So
our mission is to break down intricate health topics into understandable and actionable insights. Join me, Yvonne Kimuma, every Wednesday 9 p.m. on KUTV's News at 9, where your health is our priority.
Baada ya kutafuta kazi, tunaweza kuanzisha miradi yetu ambayo ingetusaidia kubadilisha maisha ya wazazi wetu.
Kwa vijana wenzangu, wengi hawana kazi, lakini ikiwa sisi wenyewe tutajiamini, tunaweza kujiajiri wenyewe.
Afrika kwa kweli tuna mahitaji ambayo ukiyasuluhisha unaweza kuathiri watu kwenye bara hili.
Bila woga, watu huwa na uzalishaji zaidi, wanajawa na ujasiri, wanakuwa wabunifu na wanakuwa wenye maarifa.
Niliamua kuacha kazi. Hata kama sitafanikiwa, nitakuwa nimejaribu, nitakuwa najua haiwezekani.
Hakuna kitu cha ajabu hapa. Kila anayepata ufanisi hufanya kazi usiku na mchana.
Kitu kitakusukuma na kuwezesha kupata maarifa ambayo hukuwa nayo.
Tunajaribu kutengeneza kitu kitakachopita mipaka ya nchi hii.
Ikiwa unataka kubadilisha ulimwengu, anza na nyumbani.
From the hospital corridors, we bring you experts to discuss issues affecting your health, from diet to mental health. The familiar and the ignored are both put into perspective. We then dive into the environment and look at the effects of climate change and its solutions. Join me, Mutegi K. Martin, every Friday at 9 p.m. as we learn on how to better our health while taking care of our environment. Only on KUTV.
Tunachimba hadi mizizi kukuletea yanayojiri.
So mimi naomba tu serikali yetu ya Mungu, jibarikiwe na Mungu, iweze kuteremsha bei ya mafuta.
Yanayokukumba tuna maizi, tunakutetea sisiri. Kwa kweli ni speciali tukikupambia makala ya mwanamke mwake. Utasema hupendi mizizi ya habari. Nami Caroline Kimoi.
They are powerful and influential. They make decisions in politics, education, finance, agriculture, health, sports, and all aspects of human life. But the impact of their decisions falls on you, the common citizen. KUTV Primetime News Thursday. We ask bold questions and pursue answers to the core to bring you closer to the story. We couldn't have it any other way. Join me, Auma Evans, as I raise matters of social concern to raise your voice from the background to the foreground.
Where we ask the coolest questions in science. Let's go! Is yogurt really just rotten milk? Why do humans need sharks to survive? How did a 12-year-old boy from Africa invent modern vanilla farming? How do you deliver medicine to a chimpanzee? Can poop be useful? How can you save the planet by reducing air pollution? To help us answer these questions, we are inviting some wonderful guests from the world of science. They will enlighten you, make you hungry for knowledge, oxygenate your brain, and make your ideas flow. This is Engine Season 3. Let's go!
All right. Welcome back on this show, Rise Today, Biashara Tuesday, on this 11th of February 2025. Just as I mentioned earlier, it is a day where women internationally are celebrated, women in science internationally are celebrated, and we are going to have that conversation. But before that, let me just have a quick feedback from our socials. Asachi Ash says, good morning, Sylvia. Looking forward to seeing what Biashara Tuesday has in store for us this morning. There's quite a lot, Asachi, that is in store for us this morning, including this discussion that you're going to have in just a bit on women in leadership. There are women who came before us, who paved way for our success, and what we are enjoying right now as women aspiring to be in leadership spaces, both in the corporate world, in politics, in business. That is what we are going to talk about today. There's a lot of challenges that that women are facing, especially young women, because this morning I'm joined by Consolata Oweru, who is a youth leader in Laikipia County. And she's going to be telling us her experience on what she has faced as she tries to climb the ladder in politics as a leader in the political world, what she's facing, the challenges she's undergoing, and also give you hope as a young person or as a grown-up who is trying to navigate your way through the leadership spaces, especially in politics. And also, before we continue, there is, we have just received an update that a road accident involving 3 vehicles at Kahawa Sukari inaongeza jam sana hapo. Now, this is something that is quite unfortunate because it's 7:58, and by the time we were giving you updates on the roads, it was the pressure or the traffic was already piling. So this is unfortunate. If you can use other routes, like if you can go through Kamiti Road, through the Northern Bypass, or through Utawala and enter through the other route to town, that will be fine, because an accident in the morning, the rush hour, this is 8 a.m., it is unfortunate. So this is something that you need to have in mind. So use other routes, and that's why KUTV Biashara Tuesday is here to keep you informed and keep you updated so that usichelewe kazi, huwezi chelewa kazi when we're here. Now, right on to the discussion that we are having this morning. Consolata is already with us here. Thank you so much for making time for us this morning.
Thank you so much. I am happy to be here again. This is not my first time here, and I appreciate to come here once again. And thank you so much. I'm looking forward to a fruitful discussion with you.
It will be fruitful because you know, KUTV Biashara Tuesday, this is where the juice is. This is where we move.
Sure.
Now, I understand that for the number of times that you've been here with us in studio, you've been telling us you aspire to be women rep in Laikipia County.
Yes.
It is not easy for the older generation. How are you managing it as a young person?
Okay, thank you so much. I think I'll start by greeting my viewers in this country and even abroad. I am Consolata Oweru. I am a 4th-year student in Kenyatta University, and I am also a student leader and also a youth leader in my county, that is Laikipia County, and also looking forward to vie as a woman representative in Laikipia County come 2027. So on to your question, I think what drives me is the change I want to see in Laikipia, because honestly, we have become a county that is used to recycling leaders. And you find that we are not doing anything constructive, really. And sometimes I look at our county and I see huge potential, but unfortunately, we don't have leaders who have the urge to tap into that potential. And of course, you saw that during the Gen Z demonstration, that as the young people, we went to demonstrate and great changes were seen in the country. So that has been a drive that has been within me since childhood, I think from birth, because I am a firstborn in a family of 3, so I was born a leader.
You were born a leader. That is quite interesting. Most people mention their mothers as their role models. You mentioned that you have had a passion in leadership.
Yes.
You have had a zeal of seeing this change.
Yes.
Who is this person that has inspired you all this while?
Okay, thank you so much, Sylvia. I have a lot of women I look up to, but I have even women in my life, and even my mom. she has played a very big role in nurturing me, in encouraging me. I remember when I joined in university, my mom would encourage me and tell me, you know, vie for those leadership roles. She would really insist, and she would really come in a very, very big way in terms of finances and all that, and I really thank her. But when it comes to the national level and even international level, I look at the late Wangari Maathai. I have read her book, and through her book I was able to understand the struggles she went through as a woman. And remember, during her time, the society was highly patriarchal. And a woman in leadership was seen as a taboo. And for her, she really stood to her ground, to a point that she even experienced a very messy divorce that was in the limelight. You can imagine having a divorce case that is being discussed on national TVs, national radio. So everyone is discussing about you. When you go to church, everyone is turning their heads to look at you. But she stood to the ground, and already you can see the things she has done, the legacy she has left behind. It is still alive up to date. And I think I also look up to Gathoni Wamushoba. I know you know her. You know, I used to listen to Gathoni when I was a small girl. She was in media some time back, and I would listen to her. I never knew that one day she would be in leadership and in political space. And I have looked at her, and I see that she's one who stands to her ground and you know, she's unapologetic about her stand. If she chooses to go to a certain direction, nothing shakes her. She has to move to that direction. Yes.
Okay, very interesting. I thought you'd mention Millie, because most girls mention Millie as their role model when she says, you know, bad girl Millie, good nice girls don't get the corner office, all this narrative about being tough. And when she talks in parliament, she's aware that her voice is going to be used on social media. And she says she's creating jobs. So she is someone who is looked up to. And right now, actually, we want to see the battle between her and Osoro on whether they're going to fight for that minority whip position. But this is a question to our viewers. So who is your role model? There are so many people who are role models. She has mentioned Wangari Maathai. That is someone who was before us. Maybe even when she was not aware of leadership, understanding deeply what leadership is, but is someone she's looking up to. So who is your leader? Send us those feedback and let us know who your leader is and why her. What character does she have that makes you think that she is your role model? Now, Consolata, you mentioned that when they were beginning their leadership journey, they faced so many societal barriers that includes a society where women are perceived to be taking care of the children, nurturing the children, and education was not something that was so popular among women by then, but they shaped it and pushed through the barriers. So the leadership in the current generation is changing. So there are some of the challenges that we are facing. But what is your perspective about how leadership, how women leadership is being embraced in our country today and in the world in general?
Okay, I think we have really improved. I was looking at the statistics, and in 2022, the number of women who got into Senate, National Assembly, and even the governor position was at 7%. I think that was in 2017. And then in 2022, an increase, and it was at 11%. So I believe in 2027, even the rise of Gen Z, there will be a massive change. And I think we have made progress as a country. I think it is good to say that. Already we have 7 governors. We have the famous G7. We have a number of member of parliament elected. We also have the woman representative position through the affirmative action, the 2/3 gender rule. I think we have made progress as a country. Honestly, we cannot compare ourselves to Wangari Maathai when they were starting. Although some of the challenges they faced, we still face them up to date. And there are so many. I don't know if I can go to one of them.
Now, just because you are a young person in leadership, maybe you can tell us about the challenges you're facing as you try to push yourself through this political space.
Okay, honestly, one challenge I think I have faced, Sylvia. You know, there's a problem with our society, and I feel they do not believe in the young people as much. They still don't have confidence in us. And I have experienced this. Sometimes I face a lot of criticism, and then I find my competitors who are older, maybe who are 40 plus, they are not experiencing the criticism as much as I am. So sometimes I ask myself, is it because I am a young person? You find that people really don't believe in you. You know, watu wanakuona kama we ni mtoto. You know, they think you are a kid, and they ask themselves, so what are you bringing on the table? And to add on it, being a lady, and a young lady for that matter, you are perceived differently from a young man. You see, some will say that, oh, you know, when you get there, you get a huge person to finance you. You know, they don't believe that you can do this by yourself without maybe some extra factors. They believe that there must be a God Papa somewhere.
Talking of godfathers.
Yes. They believe that you must have a godfather somewhere who is pushing you through. They believe that somebody somewhere is financing you. And because of that narrative, I think the society plays a huge role when it comes to embracing or not embracing. And I think the Gen Z demonstrations are enough to show the society that we are capable as the young people, you know, as young ladies. Imagine, as a result of the Gen Z demonstration, finance bill was dropped. Some reshuffle in cabinet was witnessed. Have you ever seen that, Sylvia? Yes.
So you mentioned about being a young person in leadership, and also being a woman in leadership.
Yes.
You know, often we hear stories of, I don't know if I should use a layman's language, that this lady alipewa nomination because any girlfriend was so and so.
Yes.
So it is something that, is it, to your own experience, is it something that is common in the political space?
Yes, there is this term they call flower girls. I know you have heard of that. In fact, woman reps are terms as flower girls that, you know, they are only there to fill the you know, the space, just to be seen in parliament. They believe that these people don't have a voice, they don't have a role. Well, I don't blame them. Sometimes the behavior of these women who get there sometimes is not convincing. And I tell the society, sometimes it's not just about women, but also let us look at competency. Competency is key in all these things. You cannot just elect somebody, or you cannot just nominate somebody because she's a woman, but look at her competency level. Is she able to, you know, run the role? Is she able to perform the duties as expected? So I believe that, yes, that narrative is there. And sometimes you see these party positions, or I think they are 12 now in number. They represent the youth, maybe the special needs. Sometimes that is awarded to you maybe because of the fight or what they have seen you doing. For example, maybe you have been advocating for the youth, for the jobs, for the equality. Maybe you have been advocating for, you know, those who are able differently to get jobs, or you have been, you know, advocating policies about them. So they feel that nominating you in that position will put you in a pedestal where your voice is even heard more. Yes.
And how bad is the competition between leaders who are competent and those who are, let's say, flower girls? How hard, how stiff is that competition to get nominated?
Okay, the competition is stiff because I would say even in terms of elections, let us start from the elections where these leaders go to the ground, they sell their manifestos. You find that for some reasons, people are not keen to listen what this person is offering. You know, in terms of their manifesto, or in terms of the promises they make to the people. But instead you find that they will elect you because you are giving them some money. You know, and probably you don't have that money. For example, as a young person, I have not even yet completed campus. Where do you expect me to get the money from? So now when I come to you, maybe I am candidate A, and then there's candidate B. Candidate A is competent, they have the right manifestos, they seem to know what the role is about, and then candidate B, probably they seem to know, but they are not very much aware, they are not even sure of themselves, but they have money. So you find that people go to the one who has money, and then, you know, now when they get in there, now, because this person was not there for leadership, this person will be a flower girl eventually. That one is automatic.
So it's a drive that comes from within.
Yes.
So most of the time, women tend to have a victim mentality that it's because of a woman, that's why this is happening to me. And I think sometimes that is what pushes them to being flower girls, because there is need for approval, there is need to be taken care of. That's where this saying of nice girls don't get the corner office comes from. So what do you think about the women playing victims when it comes to leadership? Does it take extra effort for women to get into the spaces, or is it just the same for as of men?
It is not the same. It is good to be honest. It takes extra effort. And I would like to tell you this, the grounds are not the same. You see, the society, in most societies, sometimes the narrative is highly patriarchal. For example, maybe you are vying in a certain community. Sometimes you need to get approval from the elders. And sometimes they really don't believe in women leadership, okay? So now you find that the ground for a male candidate and a female candidate, you find that people tend to believe in the male candidate more than the female candidate. In fact, you find that they experience violence more. I know you have seen cases of cyberbullying. It is still happening, especially in this era of digital age. So now people have resorted to cyberbullying, you see? So you are bullied online and stories are made about you. And you find that people say, you know, there is a godfather somewhere. You are in prostitution, you know, you are a husband snatcher. Those are some of the words they use to attack you. And sometimes I wonder why they really focus on our personal lives as women. And you find on the other side, the male counterparts, no one really cares. Whether he has 2 wives, 3 wives, in fact, he is seen as, you know, he's victorious. But for a lady, they really want to dig deep and know, you know, who is your husband? Who are you dating? Who is your boyfriend? Who is this?
I guess that's why there's a time, is it Millie?
Yes.
She was saying in Parliament, I think it was Kimani attacking him.
Yes.
And she was really defending herself about her private life and saying it's not none of the concern.
Yes.
So it's something that is quite happening a lot. So you've talked about the challenges women face in politics.
Yes.
So there's also these women who are not interested in politics and they're watching us right now.
Yes.
So they want to understand as a woman, how am I going to navigate these spaces from just being a basic worker to being in the boardroom to being, because leadership is not just in politics. There are those in businesses, there are those in organizations, NGOs, and everything, all that. So what do you think about the efforts that it takes for women to get into, to be elevated in their positions?
Fast forward, you have to believe in yourself. That goes without saying. You don't expect people to believe in yourself, in you, when you yourself, you know, you seem to have doubts about yourself. Sometimes I tell women, you know, anytime you stand up for yourself, you are standing up for millions of women out there who are watching you silently, but they keep going because of your confidence. So I would tell every lady out there, whether in business, I have ladies who are in business, in the corporate world, in the science sector, and today we recognize the International Day of Women in Science. We really applaud them, the women in science. I say that just be confident, believe in yourself. Sometimes you just have to, you know, just declare. For example, I have already declared that I'll be in the ballot in 2027. But I can tell you for sure, Sylvia, from where I'm standing, I'm not so sure about everything. But as we go along the way, I know I will learn and I'll eventually get there. Don't wait until you know it all. That time is never coming. You have to stand up for yourself and then the rest will come.
I heard one speaker say that start right now, early enough for you to have time to fail, so that when the right time comes, you're already having the experience.
Sure.
So most of the time, there's the women in leadership. Most of them are perceived to be making decisions out of emotions. Like, yes, when they come to the table, the discussion tables, the boardrooms, the Senate, they push for education agendas, they push for affirmative actions, they push for inclusivity.
Yes.
They push for all these things, but most of the time they are viewed to be making decisions based on their agenda, and sometimes it's tied to their cycle. You know, there's that phase where you're so moody.
Yes.
There's that phase where you're happy.
Yeah.
So most of the time it is tied to their emotions.
Yes.
What do you think about this perspective of women being perceived to be making decisions based on emotions?
Yes, I think that is nature. Men use logic, and then in most cases women use emotions. And you remember a certain scenario between Honorable Millie Odhiambo and Honorable Kaluma, and Millie Odhiambo was really defending herself and saying that it was not her wish that she doesn't have kids, that God made her that way. And I would really see that she was saying that with a lot of emotions, and you know, she really meant it. I think I would like to defend women because the reason why we use emotions, for example, women, and they are mothers. So we understand the pain of a child. And so anytime I'm introducing a bill in parliament concerning women, concerning children, I'll be emotional about it because I feel the pain. You know, I literally feel the pain. So for you to so that I convince even the men, I have to be emotional about it.
Do you think that is jeopardizing the whole point? Because sometimes leadership is about logic. Like, this thing is what needs to be done. No emotions, no nothing. Do you think that is a barrier that women set for themselves in leadership?
Not really. Using emotions is part of your feminine power. Sometimes you use it to get what you want, and sometimes just be feminine to get what you want. It is okay to use emotions to push for the right agendas, but don't use emotions to push for the wrong things. For example, you know, insulting others, I think no, that one is. But when I'm pushing for something in parliament, especially concerning the kids, the marginalized communities, I'll be emotional. In fact, I'll even cry. So that you get the seriousness of the matter.
So it is about balancing between being a woman and the nature itself, being feminine and feminine. You know, they say that feminine rules over masculinity. So it's just the nature. So we can say it's just about nature. So in your own view, have you faced such criticism that wewe toka hapa, toa emotions zako hapa? Have you faced such a first-hand experience?
I would not say I have not faced that really, but I have faced other challenges such as cyberbullying. There was a time, you know, sometimes politics can be petty, and sometimes people look for the pettiest reason to attack you. And I remember I sent a poster in one of the groups. You know, as a starter in politics, when you are starting these things, sometimes you're not aware of some of these things. You learn along the way. And then my poster had Laikipia County logo. And then people attacked me out of that, and they said, look at you, you're even vying, and you even don't know the purpose of the county logo. You have not read the IEBC guidelines. You know, they make you feel as if you are an academic dwarf. You don't know what you are doing. They say that some of you are vying, but you really don't know what you are going for. I've also received a comment some time back. Somebody told me that, you know, if I'll support you if you have a husband. And if you're married, yes. I'll
That is-
support
that is,
you.
That is a blow.
That is what I'm telling you.
But
Kuja
that is
ground.
also a thing
Yeah.
for men, because
Sure.
most of these positions, the men are always told, if you can't have a family to
Sure.
lead, that means you cannot lead us. So it's something that is quite on both sides. But what do you think about that idea of you have to have a spouse or you have to be married from both ends, like from the gents and from do you think leadership takes you to have a spouse, you have to have a spouse for you to be in leadership?
Not really. I don't think that is not a requirement. And in fact, even in the Constitution, I have not seen any requirement that you need to have a spouse so that you go for a certain position. If anything, even if I have a spouse, he will not have, much contribution to what I'm doing. He will not be in parliament representing the people of Laikipia. I will be in parliament. I will be interacting with my people, not him. And therefore, let us not pressure people, especially the young people. Please give us space, at least to even discover ourselves. Some of these things you need to get into marriage when you know yourself fully. So stop pressuring us for the sake of the society image. And that is where sometimes women go wrong. Not even women, even male aspirants, that you do something so that you get approval from watu kwa ground. And deep down, you know that this is not the right thing for me. So who will get affected in the end? At the end, it is you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now that we are still on women and the marital status of men and women, I have had these sentiments from a lot of women that especially that my husband or my boyfriend is jealous of me.
Yes.
As we are created naturally, men are supposed to be leaders. So as women want to take, like for example, let's say you are a CEO of an oil company.
Sure.
Your basic salary is in millions.
Yeah.
And maybe your husband does not receive that. So most of the time, men retaliate to using other forms of force to maybe tame you, maintain you. Just the other day when we were going home, we were talking, the driver told me that, Sylvia, you look like you have money. And it will take you a long time to find a husband.
Yes.
And I was like, why? And he says it's because ladies who have money or ladies who are able, they tend not to listen to their husband. So there is that aspect of women being in powerful positions, but then it defies the law of nature of men being the head, because it will be that way, whether we like it or not, whether we have feminists telling us this or that, it will be that. Men will still be leaders and ladies will still be required to submit. So what do you think about this idea of men being jealous of their successful women?
Well, Sylvia, you just read my mind. I had a conversation with a group of male friends on Saturday. They are my very good friends, and I'm sure some of them are watching. And we had this conversation, and I was asking them, why would you feel discriminated, or why would you feel not even discriminated, intimidated by a lady who knows what she wants? Who knows what she's going for, maybe who has potential. And sometimes I feel men who do that have self-esteem issues, honestly. If you feel intimidated by a woman, I think check at yourself, look at yourself, have a look at yourself, interrogate yourself. I think that is an issue of self-esteem. I have received these comments severally. I remember there is one person who asked me, now that you want to join politics, are you sure you get a husband? Are you sure you manage marriage? I have received that question a number of times. And by the way, Sylvia, these are some of the stereotypes that make women fear to get into these positions. Sometimes they fear risking. So they are like, now, if I get into politics, that means I will never get a husband until 40s. I will never do this, I will never do that. Sometimes you sacrifice a lot. As I told you, Sylvia, when you stand up for yourself, you are standing up for other millions of women who are looking at you, who are literally admiring what you do. And yes, these are, I have also had people telling me, you know, unakaa pesa. Hey, where, you know, I remember asking another friend that I don't know why people feel intimidated by me. And he told me, but you are, that I'm intimidating. I'm like, no, I think the reason why men feel intimidated is because they have not accepted that women can be leaders, that they can lead in the corporate space, in the religious space, they can lead in the political space. Once you accept that, and then you accord her the necessary support, she will submit to you. There will be no
Necessary
problem.
support.
Yes, yes. When
I
you
know
accord me the necessary support, and when I talk of support, does not mean financial, even emotional. You tell me that keep doing what you're doing, you're doing good. You know, emotional support goes a long way, and women require that more than financial support.
Do you know what it takes for you to have that? Let me ask you a question that I know you least expected me to ask. I'm asking the question that you have been asked and you don't like.
Yeah.
Do you think you will survive marriage? Because as a leader, you work extra hours.
Yes.
You take extra calls.
Yes.
Most of the time you get to the house, you're tired. So often you will have your maid do everything for you.
Yes.
And most reasons why men marry is because they want someone to take care of them also. So do you think you'll survive marriage?
Oh yes, I believe, and that is why, that's another reason why I'm in politics. I want to demystify the myth that a woman in politics cannot have a functioning marriage. Yes, Sylvia, please remind me when I get into parliament. You remember this interview, me telling you that I'll have a good husband and a supportive one for that matter, and even good children. I believe in God. And if I believe in God, He will accord me the necessary support through that man. He will help me reach my destiny.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, moving forward, what is your aspiration for leadership, women in leadership? What do you see to be the talk, maybe the countered challenges? Let's say just hapa karibu 2030. What is the future? What does the future look like?
The future looks promising. It looks encouraging. I like it that people are now empowered. You know, really, this is not the era of Wangari Maathai. This is not the era of, you know, Moi era, Kenyatta era. Things have really changed, and the future is promising. I like it that people are now embracing women. And I believe that the steps we are taking, I know that even by 2030, I know more women will get into science, they will get into politics, the so-called male-dominated fields. Now you see women are really taking up those roles very seriously. Yeah, the future looks promising, and I am happy to be part of that future.
What do you think should be done differently in terms of legal framework, the policies that revolve around leadership? What do you think needs to... I understand there are affirmative actions, both internationally and locally, that the two-third gender rule and all that. But what do you think needs to be done differently to encourage more women into the leadership spaces? And what needs to be done for that to be implemented?
Okay, what needs to be done, Sylvia? I think when we look at the political parties in Kenya, we still have a problem. You find that most of them really don't embrace female candidates as much. And in fact, the ladies' wing or the young or the ladies' league is not that functional in most political parties. I think for you to excel in any political space, you must have a supportive party and a supportive party leader. I believe if we go that direction and we have party leaders who embrace women, and not only women, but young women who are very green in that space, you accord them the necessary support. If there are finances, then you give them the finances. If there is what we call mentorship, you mentor them, because mentorship is really important more than anything else. And of course, without taking advantage of these young girls, because Millie Odhiambo has addressed that in her book. She has addressed that their political
Which
parties
book?
before rig or be rigged. Yeah, that is a book she recently launched. I think, was it last year? Yeah, it's a wonderful book. I would encourage any young leader, you know, a female politician, a young female leader who feels that she wants to get into this space, please read that book. It's a book that will make you question you. As I was telling you, Sylvia, I read that book and asked myself, do I really want to be here? Am I sure of what I'm doing? You know, to make you informed, really. So she has addressed that, and she has said that that is a problem that cuts across. You find that sometimes you win an election, you win a party election, but they do not accord you the ticket. Instead, sometimes it's given to a male candidate, you know, they undermine you. I feel if the political parties embrace women and the young women, and the women leagues should be functional, I think will be good to go. Yeah.
And I think that is also why there's so many women self-help groups that are coming up, which is quite important for young women or just women to join and find support and warmth from the fellow women. Now, coming on to the media, what do you think the media should do to support leadership and demystify all these myths about women being part of the leadership spaces?
Oh, that's a good question, Sylvia. What you are doing is really good. You are encouraging young leaders out there, more specifically the female leaders. I think the media should bring about these stories of successful female leaders who are there. You know, you just have such forums, such discussions, and you hear them live. You bring about the experiences, and also you should bring about the testimonials. For example, you go to a certain county and you look at what that female governor has done. You feature, so that will encourage people. Oh, so these female leaders are doing something. I think that is what the media needs to do. Yeah, you need to interview these leaders and bring them on board.
So societal and cultural norms are the biggest barriers hindering women to get into leadership. So to help someone who is at home, who wants to venture or who wants to be a leader, maybe you can help us know what has worked for you and how you overcome those challenges.
Well, challenges are always there, but I would encourage you, just find a support system. Personally, my family is very supportive. My family is my number one support system. They are my cheerleaders, and even most of my friends who are around me, they really support my vision, and even my classmates, they really cheer me up. You know, when you lack a support system, even if it is just one person cheering you, that is enough to propel you forward. But you can imagine a situation where you are alone. You know, we say no man is an island. You need people to sell your vision to people. Of course, you never lack somebody telling you, yes, you are doing the right thing. Yes, keep going. I've received comments and in my inbox, people telling me, even if we don't comment, even if we don't like, we see what you do and we believe in you, keep going. And I'm telling you, such comments light up my morning. They keep me going.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
There is always wanasema, if you look at what you post, you may have 100,000 views and 10 likes.
Sure.
So you just keep what you're doing because they are watching.
It's true.
So there is politics, there is business, there is education, there is societal issues. What do you think is the biggest area that you see it going to succeed in the coming years in terms of women occupying the spaces in leadership?
I think one area is, let's say, I don't want to be specific on one area, but business, education and politics. I think this is a field where, and even science, this is a field where women are really being so aggressive, and I like it. And I would encourage any young leader, a female leader who is there. You might not have the passion for politics like me, but you have the passion of improving, you know, some of the policies in the education sector. Work towards that. Work and rise to the top and even become a CS for education. Work and rise, you know, becoming a a very big force in the field of business and even in the field of science. We need inventions from you people. Yeah.
And what do you think, as we conclude,
Yeah.
what do you think is the solution to women having victim mentality when it comes to taking up spaces?
I think that sometimes as a young woman, really, you need to be aware that there will be challenges, there will be criticism. Sometimes there's what we call constructive criticism. Sometimes in this journey, you are not aware of, sometimes you do a wrong thing. Sometimes you not be right all the time. It is good to accept the mistakes, you learn from them, and also listen to people, and don't undermine people. Don't say that I will not listen to that boda guy. He does not seem to know what he's doing. Please listen to him. Listen to anyone who comes your way, who feels that they have something good they want to offer you. I think for me, Sylvia, what keeps on encouraging me, I listen to all people, from all walks of life, farmers, boda guys, those who are selling mitumbas. I want to hear their views, their opinions. And sometimes you find that these are your biggest cheerleaders more than anything else. So I'll tell women, stop adopting that victim mentality. Stop pity-patting yourself. It is time to rise up. This is like a battlefield. We say no retreat, no surrender. Yeah.
It is like a battlefield. No retreat, no surrender. And also another thing that I will also like to add, in this, especially for corporates, most of the time you are told, don't dress your age.
Sure.
You know, when you're 22, 23, 24,
I'm actually
25.
22.
22? Oh, interesting. You feel like, mimi nayo Mungu aliniumba, you know, and you want to get into spaces dressed in a certain way.
Sure.
You want to have all your assets showing. And without knowing, you get into those spaces. And I'm not saying that we are blaming the victim, but in one way or another, you make people view you sexually according to how you've dressed. So you're entering a space, you may be going for an interview, you have your chest showing, you have maybe your thighs are out, you have, you know, like so much of your body is showing up, and you've gone for an interview. Hata mimi ningekuwa mwanaume kidogo
unachanganyikiwa
kidogo nitakwambia, you know, you can get this job, you know, you can get this, you know, you need to only, you know. So sometimes as women, we sabotage our own success as leaders. You are talking to someone and then you're telling him or her that unaniambia hivyo because mimi ni mwanamke. You know, that was not in that person's mind, but the fact that you're mentioning it, you jeopardize your own success as a woman. So this is my part away as we conclude this show, that as a woman also, there are times that you need to act like a man. Like you need to behave like a man.
Sure.
It's unfortunate. It is the hard truth and harsh truth that sometimes we don't need the femininity that you want to show us. Sometimes it is a battle. You need to fight for it. Toa hisia zako, toa feelings, toa emotions, and use logic. Just as we conclude, please share with our viewers any advice you'd like to give, especially to the upcoming generation. You are 22, so you resonate with a lot of people, both the young ones and the older ones. So just give us a parting shot and the advice that you would give them.
Okay. I think I would like to address first the issue of dressing. I think when it comes to these spaces, please dress decently. That earns you respect. And especially when you're going to interact with people kwa ground. Umeenda pale unaongelesha mama mboga, you know, you need to resonate with them. And sometimes these are people who are old enough to be your father, to be your mother. So you need to let them, you know, feel that you are a good person, that you are fit for the job. And remember, your first impression is always the lasting impression. So sometimes it's good to dress decently. Yes, and be comfortable. Yeah, and I believe that you earn the respect. I think also I want to advise the young people out there. I would like to address those who have doubts. Probably you have an idea, or you have this idea in mind for so long and you don't know how to go about it. You are in doubt. Unajiuliza nianze saa hii ama nikaekae ningoje miaka 5. I would tell you, please, the right time to start is now. You figure out the rest of the things along the way. And finally, Sylvia, allow me to talk to the great people of Laikipia. I know they are watching me, and I would just like to tell them something. I would like to appreciate them so much. They have given me that platform. Thank you so much for believing in me, for believing in my vision, being a first timer and very green in Laikipia politics. I want to appreciate your support, your comments. I have received so many messages from you telling me that I am doing the right thing. I'll keep showing up for you people. And something else, it is time as the people of Laikipia, we do away with the leaders. We have been recycling leaders, and truly there are no changes. We have not seen any changes. I think it is time in 2027, let us pave way for the young leaders to come in so that we explore the potential in Laikipia. Let us pave way for new blood in Laikipia so that we achieve our full potential. And finally, asanteni sana, and thank you so much for your support. Thank you.
Very much in order. And you have a lot of support from our social media platforms. Comments are streaming in. Joram Kimani says, hello KUTV, say hi to Consolata. Hi Consolata.
Hi.
Nimefikisha salamu. I'm tuned in on Biashara Week, and we have Francis Washirui saying, Wairimu Consolata, the Iron Lady from Laikipia. Huyu ni Mama Simba.
Thank you.
You have quite support. And also we have Rachel Wambui Gitonga said, proud of my daughter watching from Rumuruti, Laikipia County.
That's my mom.
Very interesting.
Yes.
You have quite a support, and we can say that she's one of the Iron Ladies that is supporting you.
Sure. She's a blessing.
So we also have another one right here from Rachel Wambua. Her only weakness is not wearing makeups. Arimis is her favorite from the time she was on diapers. That's your mom, I guess.
Yes, I don't use makeup. But it's not that I hate makeup. I don't know really what is my problem. I just feel I'm comfortable in my own skin.
Okay. Your mom anakuanika hapa kwa mtandao. But it's fine. Thank you, Mom, for tuning in with Consolata this morning. So to our viewers back at home, this is On the Lounge with Consolata Waweru. She's a youth leader in Laikipia County, aspiring to be women representative come 2027. Now, that is our conversation on women in leadership. Coming next is the discussion on Biashara Tuesday. There's quite a lot that is happening. We have stories of parliament, who is the majority, who is the minority. We have the allegations of we might be having fake goods in the country because apparently KRS stamps were stolen. And that is just among so many discussions that we'll be having. And I will be joined by Kelvin Benson, who is a journalist, and also Ojuang Mariam, who is one of our very own right here on KUTV. So before we get that, we are taking a very short break. Stay with us.
Hi, my name is Stella Tioi.
Jina langu naitwa Okemwa Mukwa James.
This is Mandela Gaya.
Ugonjwa ulipokuja ulichukua siku 3 ukaniweka in coma. 20 wamezikwa, 2 ndio wako hai.
I don't even know how it feels to see.
I feel like I cannot express myself well the way somebody who can walk can actually express themselves.
Ilichukua muda mwingi mrefu tena mpana ili kuikubali kwamba mimi siwezi tembea tena.
I've come to actually accept myself.
Ukijaribu kumsimamisha mtu umwambie tafadhali nionyeshe njia.
They find it quite strange talking to you.
We should just make schools integrated.
Inclusive setups.
By providing the right facilities.
Ni nguzo na uso wa jamii. Kupanda shuka, akawa tuzo. Ukakamavu wake, ukatii na kumfanya mwenye bidii. Kwa machozi na makeke, akabaini jinsi ya kuweni. Huyu ni mwanamke ngangari, kwa jinsi alivyo ng'ari. Mimi ni mwanamke mwake. Usikose kutazama kipindi cha mwanamke mwake, nami Caroline Kimweli.
They are powerful and influential. They make decisions in politics, education, finance, agriculture, health, sports, and all aspects of human life. But the impact of their decisions falls on you, the common citizen. KUTV Primetime News Thursday. We ask bold questions and pursue answers to the core to bring you closer to the story. We couldn't have it any other way. Join me, Auma Evans, as I raise matters of social concern to raise your voice from the background to the foreground.
Maelfu na maelfu ya wahamiaji wakiwa na watoto kutoka nchi za Amerika ya Kati wanaendelea kuwasili kwenye mpaka kati ya Marekani na Mexico.
But folks, I'm going. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Ni habari kutoka pembe zote duniani.
Pepo pasi vuguvugu, pepo pa ni idea.
Sazidi ananyonya, hanyonyi vizuri, anakuwa hayuko comfortable.
Jeshi la Jamhuri ya Kidemokrasia ya Kongo linapambana na waasi wa ADF.
Kwa sasa wanatoa wito kwa mashirika, makampuni na vile vituo vya uchukuzi.
Mambo mengi yatakwenda kama yalivyopangwa.
Hapa ni kuna mmoja wa viongozi wa chama cha wavuvi katika eneo hili.
Zaidi tunajaribu kuwapa chanjo ili ina boost ama inanyanyua kinga ya mwili, hiyo inaenda kupelekea kupambana na virusi.
Ni duniani leo, Jumatatu mpaka Ijumaa, moja kwa moja kutoka VOA Swahili, Washington DC.
Access to knowledge, solution to unanswered questions.
Guidelines to pursuing your rights and repossessing your property, intellectual or material.
This and more, only on Law Matters.
Hello everybody! Welcome to Engine, where we ask the coolest questions in science! Let's go! Is yogurt really just rotten milk? Why do humans need sharks to survive? How did a 12-year-old boy from Africa invent modern vanilla farming? How do you deliver medicine to a chimpanzee? Can poop be useful? How can you save the planet by reducing air pollution? To help us answer these questions, we are inviting some wonderful guests from the world of science. They will enlighten you, make you hungry for knowledge, oxygenate your brain, and make your ideas flow. This is Engine Season 3. Let's go!
The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom.
The Bible says, when he spoke, Then he spoke a parable to them, that men always ought to pray and not lose heart.
Christ says, I stand in the door and I knock. Whoever hears my voice and opens, I will dwell with him.
Like the moon, I will fade, but like the star, I will rise again. And though I fall, be rest assured that I will rise again.
Go to the hospitals, tell them that God will heal them. Go to the prisons, tell them that they'll be free. Go to the crusades and tell people that Christ is coming, and sooner than the word itself, the second advent is imminent.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us until this far. We are on the launch, on the discussion, on the newspaper review. And what has just happened before this, before the break, we were having a discussion on women in leadership, a very interesting conversation with Consolata, who is a youth leader in Laikipia County, aspiring to be a women representative, sharing her story of how she has faced challenges, trying to maneuver her ways into the political landscape. The biggest being the pressure of cyberbullying or lack of trust from those who are before her, and also the public. Kuna watu ambao they are her age mates, but they don't believe in her because she is a young person, and we want to demystify that thing. Young people are very capable. They are very capable because this nation's biggest transformations in the past year or in the past couple of years, the transformations have been done by the young people. So please give the young people a chance, believe in them, not just the women, also the gents. If they're young, msianze kuambia watu hapati miaka yako kidogo bado haijafika. So that was our conversation that we were having. And right about now, we are going to have the newspaper review. And in studio, I'm joined by Kelvin Benson, who is a journalist, a KU alumni. Many thanks for having you here on this discussion tonight. I'm so pleased to have you. And also, this morning, apologies for that. And also, we are joined by Juang. It's always good to have you on board, Juang.
I'm very happy. I'm very humbled. Kila time nasikiaga ukinini unasema this night. Nakumbuka the previous night you are on duty.
Yeah.
Uko mjengo usiku, uko mjengo asubuhi. Na hao ndo watu wanahitajika kujenga hii nchi. By the time inafika 2027, I'm telling you the numbers that will be contesting for seats, elective seats hapa nchini Kenya itakuwa mingi. Why? Because women wanajituma everywhere. Uko kazi usiku, asubuhi, uko mjengo. Ukitoka hapo hivyo unasikia bado
lenye production.
Mkitoka hapo hivyo mwanzo kupanga mpaka mambo ya familia. So by 2030 we are expecting to have a lot of young women leaders in STEM careers and politics. That's a very good thing. Thank you so much. Na our ladies and gentlemen from all over, karibuni sana kwa newspaper review.
Thank you so much, Kelvin. Umetusalimia this morning.
Oh, I'm still here. Thank you for having me once again. Let's see how we will review these magazines, because the headlines are very heavy. Agony for Youth after Ruto's visit and everything. Remember, we are having a lot happening. The AU thing all over. Parliamentarians will be sitting down today. So let's see
how this is going to unfold. You know, the good thing with having a journalist on board is unamwambia sema habari, anakuambia the whole state of the nation, which is quite interesting. Thank you so much, Benson. Now, this morning, we are really expecting a lot, especially in the world of politics. This is a day when members of parliament are resuming session, and it is happening just after the court ruled that Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Alliance coalition is the majority in the party. So technically, we have been operating illegally in the country. Like, there's been a lot of, for the past 2 years, tumekuwa na the wrong majority. We have been having a speaker who is occupying 2 positions illegally. And the standard says biased speaker. He says he applauds the judiciary for its bold decision in upholding the constitution, the rule of law. That is Daniel Manduku. This is a statement by Daniel Nambuku. We, the Azimio coalition members, shall take our seats on the right side of the speaker, and Junet Mohammed shall replace Kimani Ichung'wah as the majority leader. And Justice Lawrence says the holding of speaker as leader of Ford Kenya, and at the same time a key official in the Kenya Kwanza coalition, evokes the appearance of bias and undermines the independence of parliament. That's why the big headline, biased speaker. Let me begin with you, Ojwang. Do you think our speaker is biased?
It's written. Hiyo ndio kitu cha kwanza. Unajua hata Yesu alikuwa akipigwa na shetani na zile questions 3. Anaambiwa nataka hii mawe change kwa mkate. Anamwambia it is written. Anamwambia hapana, sasa nataka nikupe hii city yote. Wewe kwendo finest. Tuachana na huyu Mbwekse Sakaja. Wewe kila mahali unaangalia ukote kutakuwa kwako. All you have to do ni uiname useme shetani ndio kusema. Yesu bado anamwambia it is written. And today it's written talking about the biased speaker. The standard hawajaweka question mark. Who can say it's a question? Who can tell if it's just a statement? But one thing, Sylvia, I love us and I love excellence. We are a generation of histories. At a time when the Parliament of Kenya is resuming after 2 months, in a confused house where no member of parliament knows where he will or she will sit today, because behind the scene they have made what they are calling a broad-based government. They were not able to be patient for such a ruling that declares Kenya Kwanza as illegal majority in this country. We were there. During the 25th June protest and everything, we were here. Everything seems to be happening on Tuesday. That's why there is even a meme where a man says, I'm ready for Tuesday.
Ready for Tuesday.
I'm ready for Tuesday. So leo tuko hapa hivi, the newspapers are talking about a biased speaker, but we have brought a panel of journalists, unbiased. Unless wewe ukituambia ati ukisifu huku unaenda unalipwa, ukisifu huku unaenda unalipwa. That's one thing I like about us. And we'll speak to these issues in a truthful way.
We are speaking to those issues right now.
In a truthful way.
Okay, so the other day,
hata sijamaliza. Sijamaliza bado sijakupe my point. In 2022, October 6th, the speaker, who is also a party leader, which is unconstitutional in this country. You are not supposed to be a party leader of a certain political party, and yet you are National Assembly Speaker, declared Kenya Kwanza as the rightful majority. By then, every party walikuwa wanaandika barua kwa huyu speaker kuambia hapana, Azimio ndio wengi. Anasema hapana, sisi ndio wengi. When President Ruto took over power, he went on a shopping spree ya kununua wabunge. Ameingia Northern Kenya akanunua wabunge wa chama kinaitwa UDM. Meshika. Ameingia akashika independent MPs wa Kasarani, wa wapi, wa Kororia, wa huku upande wa Kiambu, wakashikwa wote ndio wa force ama waunde wa craft a majority which is not constitutional. It is the electorates that declares a majority side or minority side in a parliament. Why? You go to mashinani, you get elected to represent kwenyu. Kwenyu ni wapi?
Kwetu ni kwingi.
Bas, kwenye huku moja, let's say Nairobi Membli, wewe umechukuliwa represent huko. So ukiingia watu wa kwenyu, kama mliingia mkiwa wadogo, wamekudeclare wewe kama minority ama wewe kama majority. So when you as a speaker umekuja umebadilisha the will of those people, it means you are a biased speaker. When you are a speaker na hautaki kuachilia other privileges, like being a leader of a political party like Ford Kenya, just know your goose is cooked politically. So he has been a biased speaker up to that point. Kenyans went even on streets to protest against the finance bill 2023-2024. Those finance bills, he did not consider the will or the opinions of Kenyans. When there was a discussion brought on impeaching Rigathi Gachagua, the public participation that was done, people were saying, hatutaki ati huyu aende na huyu abaki. We want them both gone. The speaker, as a biased man, na picha yenye amekewa hapo the standard ni moja ya mtoto mkorofi. Ile amejam tu hivi. If you've watched Aki and Popo, what Kenyans call him and Mudavadi, anakaa sasa huyo the young guy.
The short one.
Na miwani, Aki and Popo. Sasa Aki and Ukwa. Sasa anakaa Ukwa. Yeye bado alisema Wakenya wamesema Rigathi aende. Hawajasema Ruto aende. Yet Kenyans were clear. We want them both. In fact, we want even you as a speaker to go because the parliament has lost legitimacy. It was burnt down. The same parliament saizi hatujui nani ndo majority, nani ndo minority.
Quite interesting times to be a Kenyan. Now, coming to you back, Benson. There's been allegations that, and this is from Martha Karua, that the Kenya Kwanza government is poaching members of parliament. Do you buy the same sentiments, and do you think that the Speaker of the National Assembly, Moses Wetangula, is biased?
I think when you get to parliament, when you are elected to parliament, you have to come from a certain maybe coalition, have a party, or either be independent. The other 14 members who I think they were from parties like UDM, PAA, the People's Alliance, and other parties. Those 14 members, ndio sijui what happened, such that they were supposed to be from Azimio, to be from the Azimio coalition, but then wakasema wakajitenga. They said no, we don't want to be under Azimio because we have this our parties, and I think that has brought confusion because coming back, if you think about that thing, ni kitu ili happen 2022. 2022 was when Wetangula made that decision. See how many years later it is affecting us. And we've said that when they go to parliament today, they don't know where to sit. And I think, was it Junet who said that they will sit at the right side, the right side, and then he will replace Ishungwa as the majority leader. So we just want to see what will happen. And you know, all this is building up to 2027. They want to form something. Every party wants to win, wants to have members, and the more numbers you have, the better, because those people are the ones. Those people are the ones who will go to the local ground, and then they will talk to their people. So let's just wait and see whether
what is going to happen next. So it is a battle between Kimani Ichung'wah and Junet, who is the majority leader, between Osoro and
I don't really think it's a battle between them. It's still a battle between Kenya.
Do you think it's a battle of goodies? Because with being a majority comes goodies, extra security, extra allowance. Do you think it's about the fight for that? Because these leaders who they are saying who Wetangula allegedly shifted them to Kenya Kwanza, they moved, but legally they're still in Azimio.
They claim that they were on the right side. Look at the things that are happening right now. Suna East Member of Parliament Junet Mohammed is still praising Ruto and the Kenya Kwanza regime because of the broad-based government marriage. Meshika. It's a point yenye umechitu tukasema basi kuwa official. Now you are supposed to be official. Wewe ndio uko hapo hivyo. What do you do? Wamekuwa on the same side of war with the Kimani Ichung'wah for a number of months since the broad-based government. Now it's a time yenye tumekuwa hii cinema based Sylvia ni inakwambia toka ni pango. What will happen? Who occupies the minority now that we know that there is no official opposition party in Kenya unless we are talking about Wiper. Kama Wiper bado ijaingia. Because Wiper is another party with a lot of MPs in the National Assembly. Jubilee has, but Jubilee somehow is in bed with the same government, in the broad-based government, because we have people like Lee Kenyanjui from Nakuru, who is a Jubilee member. We have Muntahi Kagwe, CS Agriculture, who is a Jubilee member. So we can't say that Jubilee or Azimio is Azimio. I don't still think we have Azimio in this country.
Because most of them have actually moved away from the party.
But it's a mess. It's a mess that has tortured us since 2022. We have had an illegitimate government since then. People have been crying. As a president, once you have taken oath of office, everything else should change. You are no longer a DP. You are no longer a leader of certain tribe. You are no longer a kingpin somewhere. You're supposed to be a unifying factor of the whole country. President Ruto, since 2022, has never been able to unite Kenya as a country. 2022 imekuwa mikiki. 2023 the same, mpaka kwa little broad base. 2024 the same. Hakuna wakati tumewahi tulia kama Kenya tukasema
tumetulia sasa kuna
tuongeleeni development sasa. It has always been politics. Na saa hii the weak link, which is the parliament, see parliament tena, because our speaker is also an illegitimate speaker, because he has to choose between being Ford Kenya party leader and National Assembly speaker. The majority side is still the same. Watu hata wako na nguvu hapa hivi wanatafuta ni watu kama kina Mili venye ulikuwa unasema wakitafuta the minority. But for Junet ne Kimani au ni beef tu inaenda kuingia hapo hivyo.
Okay, so this is coming to Benson. This brings me to the question of the independence of these arms of government, the judiciary, the legislature, and the executive. The executive seemingly is taking control of all these arms of government. What is your opinion about the type of influence the executive has on parliament and these other arms of government?
I think Kenya, our nation, being a democratic country, and with these three arms of government, even the judiciary, the executive, all these members that are there has been some dispute, and that is why you see, that's why the court ruled that Wetangula is acting wrongly, having two roles, as he has said, the coalition leader of Ford Kenya and the Speaker of the National Assembly. And you know this, all this motion ilipelekwa kwa judiciary by one person. He was an advocate, and that is why we are having all this. And I think for the judiciary to act, or the executive to act, it cannot act independently right now. All these three arms of the government need to be together, because the judiciary also must act as the watchdog for the executive, and the executive must also act as the watchdog for the judiciary, such that whenever kuna shida, then when we have been having someone sitting there illegally, munakuja pamoja, we agree and we say we are doing the wrong thing, and yet this thing needs to be done right. And if that is to happen, then the country will progress. There will be time to talk about development. There is no time to talk about development. MPs today will just go into parliament it is like chaos. There is no motion that they're talking about developing certain projects. And you see, I really think if they are to work together, then we will move forward as a country.
It's quite unfortunate. People who we expect Watutete today will be arguing about where to sit. Yeah. Now let's move on to the Daily Nation of their big story there, agony for Ruto after Ruto's visit. That was Ruto in the northeastern region, and he took there so many goodies. And before we even get to the agony of the youth, The 50 suspects who were arrested in police crackdown in Isiolo town on Saturday, hours after President Ruto's meeting was marred by heckling, were yesterday arraigned amid protests by relatives and human rights activists who accused the government of intimidation and harassment. Just to set the base for this conversation, when Ruto was addressing the congregation, it turned chaotic, with the others chanting, Ruto must go, Ruto must go. And he was saying, nyinyi vijana nyamazeni, kuna watu wanataka niongee maneno ya development. Hiyo vitu mnayosema naenda kuzungumzia sasa. And I must say I was not happy with his language. He was very vulgar, if I must say, for a leader or for that seat of the presidency. It's not demure for a president to speak in that manner. But let's not talk about his language, because he is who he is. The agony for the youth after Ruto's visit. To begin with you, Juang, what does it mean for you that when a president is opposed, or when a president, their voice is opposing his voice, this happens? And the arraignment comes after protest by the family members. They were arrested and not arraigned.
The truth is, ujana ni moshi. Everyone who is a youth right now, one day will not be a youth. How do you use your time as a youth? Mimi huwa natumia time yangu kupigania sisi vijana. Unajua one time sitakuwa kijana. Na nitakuwa nikijiuliza, what did we do when we were youths? Because right now, as the world is grappling with vile kuna white rhino inamalizwa, there is another endangered species, the youth. It is very senseless to say that the youth are marginalized, yet they are the majority kwa debe na kwa ground. 70% of registered voters are youths, but ni the same people wako in agony. The president gets to northern Kenya, anaingia pale hivyo. In fact, pale Isiolo, watu wa Isiolo wanasema wao si northern Kenya anymore. It's in public domain, wanasema wao ni Mount Kenya. Because of that, kufeel wanatengwa sana. So president anaingia pale hivyo. You should have intel ya kukuambia ground kukwaje, so that you know whether you will face hostility or not. To a president, hostility is not being armed. It's saying no, uongo. Hata wako wameanza na Ruto must go. Walikuwa wanasema uongo. Akisema kitu kama ni ukweli, wananyamaza. Kama ni uongo, wanasema uongo. Now problem ilikuwa inatokea, vitu nyingi anavyosema rais zinakuwa ni uongo. So umedanganya hawa watu. Ni vijana wamechangamka, wanakuambia ni uongo. What happens? Over 50 of them, at least tuna thank God, they have not been abducted, they have been arrested and taken to court. But why? As we are talking about that, that's the Daily Nation. The Standards on page 2 are talking about PWDs ignored during Ruto's Northern Kenya tour. Persons with disabilities in the Northern Kenya have voiced their concerns over President William Ruto's recent tour, claiming that critical issues affecting them were overlooked. The same people living with the people with disabilities are crying. The youth are crying. So who benefited from the presidential visit to the Northern Kenya? If the youth are crying, they are in agony. We are seeing them in courts, in cells. Those others are crying that sisi hatukusikika. But hawa kwa polisi saa hizi Ruto amewafungisha kwa sababu walikuwa wanashout uongo. Tukiendelea hivyo, kesho tutapata watu na wheelchair huko wameshikwa. It is a crime in this country kusema uongo ama kusema kitu haiwaka. 61 years Grace Njoki Mulei, who is a medical practitioner, anaingia anasema shai work uongo, anashikwa. Kwanza huyo hata get abducted. Vijana Isiolo wanasema haiwork uongo, wanashikwa. But one day 2027 haiko mbali. Na kuna wenye wanasema we don't have to reach 2027. Why? We don't have a parliament. The chief justice of this country, hata yeye bado ako mahali analia, anatafuta justice pia. The executive is crashing. CSAs and their children are getting abducted. We don't have a government. 14th February, wasichana wote hata hawaongelelei maua, except inasemekana kwa memes wenye wamepanda zao. 14th February, all eyes on AUC chairmanship.
Before we get to AU chairmanship, let me get feedback from Benson. What do you think about our country and how the leadership addresses opposition from the public?
I think it has reached a time when the leaders don't want to be criticized, and when you criticize them, you are wrong. And you know, this issue of Isiolo, these suspects were arrested hours after President Ruto left, and it was an order from the president. So I don't know how they handled that issue, but they were released, and then they pleaded guilty. They were pleaded guilty to drunk and disorderly, and maybe they were just making their voices heard. I think it has reached a time when African leaders, rather, I will generalize them, or Kenyan leaders, they focus more on their personal benefits. And you know, even before someone gets into power and he's a leader who wants to vie, they all wanajita honorable even before they get into parliament, and yet most of them will end up being horrible leaders. So coming to 2027, and even as we go forward, people are tired because of maisha imekuwa ngumu. You can look at the tough economic times that we are facing, promises of doing this and that, but nothing is working, abductions, everything. I think there is political intolerance in this country, and let's call a spade, not a big spoon. Something needs to be done, and it should be done urgently. Yeah.
Okay, that's in order. So he's saying that this country, if you speak of the government, if you correct the government, you are the bad person in this current regime. So just on the same, I think it's on the dailies, where how Uhuru Rigathi Cold War threatens anti-Ruto alliance. And this is something that we are going to connect it with the Raila's election bid for the African Union. Experts say that Ruto's current reaction could be as a result of the fear of a unknown. The opposition parties ganging up, DAP, Wiper ganging up against him, the fear of the unknown. If Raila Odinga wins the AU election, if he loses, what happened next? And also this Uhuru Rigathi Cold War that threatens anti-Ruto alliance. Rigathi ameshasema he will ensure that Ruto does not have even a single vote, even a third of zero votes from the Mount Kenya region. So do you think this could be, this all hostile reaction to criticism could be as a result of the fear of 2027, Ojo?
Sio hata 2027 pekee. Everyone upata stress. Wes unapataga stress. Kevin anapata stress. The president of this country is not immune. Hata yeye anapata stress. Ni human being. So what happens when people feel like you have failed in a mandate that they elected you? They elected him to be a president. He has failed. They elected him to unite the country. He has failed. They elected him to represent us out there. Hata ukakumbuka vizuri 2022, immediately after President Ruto amekuwa sworn in, alitembea sana nchi za ngambo. Saizi hana hiyo nguvu because there's a 36-year-old in Burkina Faso, Ibrahim Traore, who is doing so much bila kutoka nje. Tunasikiaga tu story. Na amezifanyia wapi? Hapo hivyo. Amesema France hatuwataki hapa, hatutaki ukoloni. Oh, shida yetu ni chakula. Tunaomba kila mtu aingie shambani afanye hivyo. Our president has not been able to do this. And the pressure is up. Yeye hata akijaribu political cards zote zina fail. So, amejaribu moja, ni walete nyote tufanye broad-based government, imekataa. Yet the other parties zenye zinaitwa minority party zenye bado wana brush off, wanasema hawajui anything, zenye wana sijui Tugati sijui villagers, wao wakiungana hata kapati kadogo kaungana na kengine, inakuwa it's a very big thing in this country. You are living in a limbo and you are a president. Uko na stress. That's why the anger has started to manifest even in public. Rais 2022 akisimama Rais Ruto akisimama 22 kwa gari, alikuwa anasema mwadhani ya Goshwo, it was good, there is some spirituality. And then hatafuatanisha na matusi, atafuatanisha na hawa majamaa wametutesa, tuunde serikali yetu ya mahasla, serikali ya mtu wa bodaboda. But now it's hawana tabia nzuri, they are treasonous, waganga, wachawi. Mimi nimesoma, niko mpaka na PhD, nyinyi mnaniambia nini? When a president starts to talk like that, especially in a place when a younger generation, the youths, are telling you uongo. What is the response to uongo? You are supposed to give a fact. But yeye akiambia uongo, kesho tunakupata polisi, hata si kesho, a few hours, tunakupata polisi, uko charged with drunk and disorderly, juu tu umesema uongo. At that particular point, as a president, you'll get overwhelmed. I'm sure kama kuna watu wanapata pesa mingi sana uko, hata si kina Ndei, ni psychiatrists, counselors, nini.
Because there's so many things.
Ni sawa tu, wakiumia usisahau mamilioni ya Wakenya ndio wanaumia zaidi. And it's a war between him versus all those Kenyans. It's going to be very hard if the current regime will use money to buy votes or to buy people. I will ask a question. How many people will they buy? Are they loaded to buy, let's say, 10 million votes in 2027? If they can't, the government should be aware that everyone they will not buy will be against them. And if we are still in a democratic country in 2027, the president of Kenya, if he loses, he will leave office in a respectful way, just like his predecessor Uhuru Kenyatta, who vowed hata wachia wezi inchi. At that particular time when alikuwa anaita mwizi, we know who it is, na alimuachia, because that's what our constitution demands. COK 2010, it gives in the preamble, the first page, power, all sovereign power to the people and citizens of Kenya.
Very correct. Now, I makosa, I normally say ni makosa yenye, you see that ex of yours mwenye huwa anakuwa na red flag, and then
wacha kusema ex of you. Si hata utumie.
Unasema ni maroon. Ni maroon. Mwenye, when Ruto was getting in power, I remember this went viral. Unanijibu kama nani. And then after some time he disappeared and it was nothing. And then it's piling and piling and piling, and now it's a big thing. Now back to Benson. What do you think about this Cold War between Uhuru and Rigathi that is threatening anti-Ruto alliance?
I think fast forward to 2027, what might happen is that if Raila Odinga might lose his bid in AU na arudi kwa the local political scene, and then pandits wanasema atasumbua sana Ruto, and then remember Rigathi Gachagua is still talking of the mountain. He is the kingpin there right now according to him. I don't know whether kuna mwingine. And you know, right now, Gachagua na Martha Karua, it's as if they are having a truce. And even Kalonzo Musyoka ni kama sasa damu ya Gachagua imempenda kidogo. Because they are seeing now they have to lean in that direction. They don't want Ruto in power again. And you know, sidhani ilikuwa poa sana for Ruto to dismiss Gachagua in less than 2 years. Najua anataka revenge, and I feel no, I never deserved that, because we went to that battlefield together. We won, and now if Raila is to lose his bid in AU, we don't know. Si aliombewa juzi, by the way, ama ilikuwa jana. Aliombewa, but they prayed for him, and you know prayers do work. But if you are to look, I'm speaking facts. If you are to look at the people who he's competing with, this guy from Madagascar and this guy from Djibouti. These are people whose countries are francophone. They are French speakers. It gives them an upper hand. Our former prime minister, our guy Mr. Raila Odinga, I don't think he talks French, I don't think. So hiyo inaweza kuwa limiting factor. There are many factors that we will consider, but we have to wait till Saturday, I think the 15th. But coming back to our local political scene, I think if Gachagua is to look for other people, sijui wenye wata unite now, then they want to unite to form a strong coalition or a strong alliance that will fight against President Ruto's bid to vie for the second term. All we have to do is wait and see, because now mambo inachemka and we must fix our country right now.
This how do you think this election, AUC election, will affect our politics? Because Raila says watu wa nchi zingine waliniita wakaniambia niende nikuwe kiongozi wa Afrika, nikishinda ni sawa, nisiposhinda niko na kwetu, nitarudi kwetu. So coming back to his home, it will be, if he loses, personally I think it will be a nightmare for Ruto, because Gachagua is out rallying everyone against him, and then Raila. So there is a dilemma. If Raila supports him, well and good. If he doesn't, it's a nightmare. So what do you think about his comeback after the AU election?
I think Raila's comeback, you know, if he loses and comes back to the local political arena, it might be something that will affect many things and many people, because I think he will come back akitaka sasa kuform something, and maybe akona party already. He wants atatafuta numbers. He wants to still be in the political arena, but it might mean his political career inaweza ishia hapo akiamua kutulia. But if he wants to continue, then I think he will try to do something in the country. And you know, I think President Ruto siye ndio aliendorse baba ama as alimuendorse as the mwenye ataenda kuvaa. And I think it will be a win for Ruto if Raila wins. But it will be a loss for him if he loses and comes back to the political arena. That I will not lie to you, because many things happen in this country. And I think Ruto right now anajua ana tense, ana feel kuna joto hapa, the way Gachagua is addressing the people of the mountain and even having numbers. Ulimuona TikTok live, TikTok yake in less than how many minutes he had 923,000 views. So this guy is still influential, even if you don't see him in active politics. He knows what he's doing. And I think even sijui anataka kupanga goat-eating watu wa Mount Kenya. They want to visit Uhuru and then they discuss the way forward. Let's wait and see now.
Just to mention, Gachagua is active in politics.
He's active.
Very active in politics.
Thank you for correcting
Now back to Ojwang. The ODM party is having two voices. Kuna sauti ya Sifuna na kuna sauti ya kina Junet na kina Mbadi. Kuna sauti yenye inasema hii ni mbaya, Ruto, this is wrong. And kuna yenye inasema give Ruto time. So there is a division in the ODM party, and this is a party that Raila Odinga heads. So what do you think is of post-AU election for the Kenyan politics?
Post-AU election. ODM. I have always loved ODM. Because I've always felt it's a movement. ODM politicians who get elected are some of the people they call smart people in terms of how they argue their points out. But ODM is changing from going bed to bed with the government of the day to politicians not delivering at home but delivering in media houses and National Assembly debates. I'm talking about places like Siaya County, Rarieda constituency, CS, Utiendi Amolo's place. He
MP.
is, yeah?
MP.
Yeah, MP. he is very vocal hapa nje. Manze mimi niliishi kujua huyu jamani ndume. But back home hakuna market kubwa, it's a constituency. Hakuna shule kubwa, it's a constituency. Mambo ya stima, maybe hapo kwa stima wanaweza lia waseme always tumekuwa in the opposition side, ndio maana hatupatagi maendeleo, but other opposition MPs are doing wonders. And they are younger than him. Kina Babu Owino, yes, hata yeye kwa opposition anafanya kitu nini, Embakasi East anakuwa top 5. Vijana wengine wadogo wa government side sasa hatukatai, Ndindi Nyoro, wanakuwa challenged on legality of doing things, but things that have been done. Wewe unaongeaga tu sana kwa media, wewe unaongeaga tu sana bunge. Kama kuna kesi zinahusu ODM, anatokea pale hivyo kama voices, but back home watu wararieda wanaumia sana.
Ni kama Otiende amekukosea leo.
Otiende watu wake anatokeaga ajenge nyumba ya matope na achukue picha aweke Twitter. Twitter. Wewe unajua venye Otiende ni jina kubwa for him to do that. I wonder if an MP ndio utengeneza nyumba ya matope, MCA wa huko ufanya kazi gani? Meshika. So the same ODM imebadilika sana na ndio inaenda kuisha saa hii in a moment the Standard are calling moment of truth. AUC race enters home stretch. Kutoka October 2024 last year, watu wameishi wakingoja this week yenye tuko saa hii. So wanasema win or lose, nataka niisome ya baba. Win or lose, yeye anasema on page 7 the Standard, I'll hold my head high, win or lose, declares Raila on AUC chair bid. Kwa game, Kevo anapenda game sana. Nakuaga na win, lose, draw. Hakuna draw kwa baba. It's either he wins, becomes AUC chair, or retires from active politics. Because when we are talking about a home to go to, gani hiyo? Ni nini wewe baba atakwambia tofauti leo? Ameharibu CV, ameharibu jina, hasa kwa vijana. Watu ambao wanatambua baba saa hii ni watu wanakula kutoka kwa mkono na mfuko wa baba. Watu kama Governor Sakaja mwenye anataka Raila ashinde ndo aondoke ODM apewe ticket ya kurun for governor 2027 Nairobi. But if baba loses, baba atasimama na either Tim Wanyonyi Westland MP kama governor Nairobi or Embakasi East MP Babu Owino kama governor. So watu wengi wanapiga baba saizi ndo the talk of town. If he loses, many will lose. If he wins, many will win. But for us who have managed to ensure that we don't have a finance bill yenye ilikuwa si itutese sisi sana, itese wazazi na wazazi wao wetu, wachukue mashamba yao wakitumia ile clause yenye ilikuwa inawekwa ya tax. Sisi hatuna haja na hii election, haituhusu. Ndio maana tunasema Djibouti. Ujinga wa Kenya anasema Djibouti. Umeona? But kwa hawa wazee wenye wanapiga bado karata zao za siasa, wanamuhitaji. They will also use money. Kama yeye bado anasema Ruto for president, inamaanisha watatumia pesa. Everyone else mwenye halipwi ako on the other side. Na hao ndio wengi. I'll keep saying on that. Na ukipata mahali zinakuliwa, if you are a Kenyan out there, upate mahali wenzako wanapewa pesa, wanakula. Please, panga laini. Rais ameingia Isiolo na anapeana pesa, tokea, panga laini. Pata pesa. The enemy is poverty, and it's poverty that they're using to divide us as youths. So we become smarter and better, which we are. Tokea, pata pesa. Kwa debe, kura ni mahali unataka, siri yako. Exactly.
Okay, that is quite well said. Sitaongeza wala kupunguza. Just to be clear that Kenyans wameamua we are no longer going to be lied to. Hata baba akisema I really condemn the abductions, tunajua jaba. So let's move, shift gears from politics a little bit. But you know, everything in Kenya just revolves around politics. On the Business Daily, we have a story of fake goods alert as 9.6 million KRA revenue stamps stolen. Yeah, this is a country where, you know, some headlines you read and you're like, kama Kenya ingekuwa for example Nairobi alafu inchi ingine ni kama Mombasa ningehama. You see,
basi nikaishi hapo Mombasa.
Acha niende Mombasa kidogo, because right now we don't know how many goods that we are consuming in the market ziko na defects.
Sema fake.
Yeah, the fake. Juni mingi. Because if it is fake goods alert as 9.6 million KRA revenue stamps stolen. Auditor General questions lack of investigation into laws. Manufacturers dread risk of stamp in wrong hands. What do you think, beginning with you, what do you think about the management of our resources in this country?
I think we've become a nation of mismanagement. If hizo stamps zote zinapotea, and you know, if they of course if they are lost, they are in the wrong hands, and being in the wrong hands means you'll get very many fake products right now. And also hiyo ni biashara tu wanapiga. You might find there are people there when you wameuza hizo stamps, they are not even stolen, there's just business being done. And if you are to look at the consumer of those goods, is the local mwananchi, or even that person mnyako huko top sana, yeah, labda itamsumbua. But those people who are tuseme our young distributors, manufacturers, retailers, wanaweza kuwa na watuuzia vitu fake. You remember a time when tulikuwa na fake sugar ama ilikuwa corrupted sugar, acha nipatie hiyo jina, na ili affect watu wengi sana. And if this is to happen, even those who are selling alcohol brands watapewa fake stamp. Those who take one for the road, you may take one and never see again. And you see that's a very big loss, because we'll be losing our youth. I think we have to come. I don't know what we have to do as a country, because we don't have to sweep this dirt and still keep it under the carpet. If you have to sweep it, we should sweep it completely. And if all this is coming from the top, if you are looking at from the electorate, then to these business people, who is to, it's as if we are fooling each other. It's everyone wants to win for themselves. Tumesema the enemy is poverty. So people don't want to know whether they will sell to you fake goods. They want that money. And I can understand them because of the tough economic times that we are facing. But still, it's a loss for us as a country.
You can understand them. So this is a country where we complain of lack of funds. Jui pesa hakuna. Madi anasema pesa imeibiwa. And then there is also KRA. They'll be rising. There is rising fears of non-payment of tax. And the mentioned goods that may be fake in the market include alcohol, cigarettes, soft drinks, and cosmetics. So this is not just a risk to our economy, but also a risk to our health. Ojuang, what do you think about accountability in this country in terms of our revenue collection, in terms of the goods circulating in the market?
Tunaishi a period yenye like everything we are consuming is fake. From you going to a shop to buy an iPhone, unauzua bei ya iPhone mpya, yet ni akina Domi huko Texas wamechoka nayo, akatupa fundi akaweka cover, akakuja hapo wakaita refurbished na wakakudanganya ni mpya. To men complaining ati wanahara sana, you lipsticks zenye wana consume from their ladies ni fake. To other men and women becoming either infertile or blind, juu pombe wanakunywa high meat standards, but imewekwa stamp. Hizi stamp kwa nadhani zinaibiwa zipelekwa wapi? Ni hizo fake goods zizungushiwe. Hii pap
muhuri.
Hii kofiti.
Muhuri unataka shika.
Shida ni muhuri. Kwa hii pombe shida ni muhuri. But if there's one thing that I'm thanking God for, is the generation we are in. Generation ya kuchanuana. Generation ya boomers si dhani ilikuwa ya kuchanuana. Ilikuwa ni generation ya wase tunafaa tupeleke watoto wetu shule. Wakaingia shule, that's 80s, wakaona yenyewe kuna kitu in this. And then they took the millennials. Wase, sasa nyinyi kama watoto wetu, si mmeona sisi tumeingia, but hatuja create whatever we wanted. So nyinyi pelekeni. Tukaenda hivyo mpaka Kibaki akasema, wase, sasa nimewape masomo ya free. Now we are in a place yenye those people wenye walikubali kusoma wanafunzana, going back to the community, kuwachanua. If it's not through civic education, it's through hata kupatana na mseka unamwambia, unajua Kenya kumeibiwa muhuri worth this amount of millions na zitaekwa kwa fake goods. So before ufanye kitu na amutumie au consume product fulani, ensure iko sawa. Ambia Wakenya huko nje, Adani wako huku na wao si wako na nia mbaya. Wanasukuma, inaisha. Hata saizi watafuata na itaisha. Sama tujaweza kurecover, like when Moses Kuria walisema kuna mafuta yenye ni gushi, sukari yenye ni gushi na imeibiwa. Bado tujasikia Wakenya wamekufa mamilioni juu ya kutumia sukari mbaya ama mafuta mbaya. Wametuzia mpaka molasses, mercury. Wameka mercury kwa sukari, then wakaipeana. We survive because at least we know. Na yenye hatujui bado tunasema what you don't know cannot kill you. If it cannot kill you, it makes you stronger. Sisi ndio tunafaa tusukume hii accountability. Hold each and every person accountable and responsible for their roles. And we are doing it right. Because hizi ndio vitu zinafanya watu wanajam. Wanaanza kusema, wanaanza hadi kuchanuliwa. I tell you another person mwenye anachanuana aitwa Rigathi. Anawaambia wase, politics saizi iko hivi. Mimi nimekonja hii politics, nimefika mpaka DP na bado nimengolewa. So wacheni niwaambie venye ina run. Huyu mjamaa alikuja kwetu, akatuambia mwadhani ya woshwa, akataja barabara, alikuwa anakram barabara, anakram hadi watu huko mlima wote wanasema anakuja kunywa na waambia Musangarire. Sasa by the time the same person anaingia Isiolo, Kenyans wanaunda hiyo script, alitaja barabara hii na hii, wanaongeza bite ya time nyingine. What other lie will you give these people? They have unleashed accountability on you. They have unleashed a responsible way of making sure that wewe uko responsible in your roles and in your duties. Na sio president pekee, ni everywhere. Wacha uone kutoka bunge leo venye kuna waka as tunaendelea. Politics will take shape. And if it doesn't take shape, we might not reach 2027 with the same government. We will have to go back to the ballot and redo the mess we had. We have 90 days. Zikishaisha, we will have an IEBC and people will start to recall their MPs. Kuongea ukweli wa Mungu ni kuambie kitu. Roysambo, we are starting with Kamande Mwafrika Augustine.
But Roysambo has different stories anyway. Let's not talk about that, because if I go to the ground, most people are talking about bursaries and apeana bursaries and all that. But
bursaries and apeana.
That's a story for another day.
Bursary. No office in this country deserves kupeana bursary. In 2002, whereby tulikuwa come from a regime, the Moi regime, FPE came to power through an executive order. Ikakuwa kila mtoto anafaa kusoma. And it is the same thing. Constitution 2010 of Kenya, COK, inasema education, every child has a right to education. Sio freedom kama freedom of expression vile nitakwambia wewe leo nyamaza. Kila mtu ana deserve education yenye ni free. Hakufai kuwa na mtoto ati huyu amepata bursary, huyu hajapata bursary. Hakufai kuwa ati bursary ni ya mtoto wa maskini, sio ya mtoto wa tajiri. Kwa nini mimi ni elect mtu ati ndio ende akapea mtoto wa maskini bursary na wangu wanashughulikiwa na nani nimeweka kura? For that reason, every person, every political office yenye iko na bursary, hizo pesa zote zinafaa zichukuliwe, zikuwe consolidated into one ministry of education, zikuwe zinapelekwa shule, watoto wanasoma for free. The government or this regime is so selfish and greedy to a point that hata huko shule, including high schools, wewe ukilipa shule pesa haziendi shule, zinaenda kwa gava, alafu sasa gava igawe capitation venye wewe inagawia a certain ministry, and that's why principals are crying that you are crushing this education system. Wewe uko hapo unataka tuseme ati mbunge fulani anafanya vizuri na peana basari. Why? Usipeane basari, ingia Kiharu constituency. An MP there by the name Dede Njoro, such a youngster, hapeanagi basari. Niweka hizo pesa zote shule and then ambia wazazi wesi utafute 2,000 kila mtu. A bursary is a tool of division. It should not be there. It's illegal.
This one you got it too personally. Makosa ni yangu.
Huwezi niambia ati mtu anapeana bursary.
Makosa ni yangu. But it's fine. Let's move away from accountability. Accountability in this country is expensive, very expensive. And just like Benson said, prayers work. Let's hope prayers will work for us.
Prayers work. Na zinawaki time. Angalia what happened with SADC and EAC. Wanaungana ndio wasaidie the Congo situation, DR Congo. Na hiyo story iko mpaka in the Standard and the Daily Nation. The Congo menace yenye inaendelea. DR hata kama wao wanajivunia watu kama Leopold, they are francophones, and they have not been happy with how President Ruto has handled the issue. Kagame is saying that yeye amekuwa ni kizingiti katika hii DRC kupata amani. SADC wanamtoa the same, and yet sisi tuko na candidate. When mambo yalizidi unga, our president aliita nani? Aliita president wa France atiasaidie. France wenye bado inasemekana ndo kizingiti cha amani DR, kizingiti cha amani Western Africa. Alafu mnaniambia maombi ya hawa watu wa Western Africa Mungu hatasikia, atasikia maombi ya wafuasi wa baba. Baba mwenye hakuna election alisimama na akaapishwa kama president, isipokuwa yenye aliapishwa na Miguna. Kila mtu anaomba.
Oh good. Now, that is interesting. Anyway, just still on Ruto and the deals he's making with other nations. He has been championing for peace in the DRC Congo, but also there is this giant in the room on the Business Daily, why employees might seek court injunction to restrain foreign NGOs from exiting the country in the wake of USAID's stop working order. There was a waiver, 90 days waiver. Employees were laid off, but some of them were recalled back to work. But this is something that most people say it's a mechanism of gaining control, of Trump gaining control, because there are also tax hikes on steel companies that are supplying to the United States. There is so many wars that Trump promised not to be engaged with. There is a purported freeze on funding for the Haiti, which President Ruto said yesterday that is not quite true. So with regard to our relationship with the United States and other foreign countries and fundings, how do you think this is going to affect our country in terms of employment, Benson?
I think if the foreign nations will stop working even with the country, see, while Trump alikuwa amesema they are stopping, wamecut funding to Kenya. You know, even the foreign nations look at your country in terms of peace. How are you handling your issues at home? If every time youths are being killed, abductions, everything, then even the foreign investor ataogopa to come to invest in such a country, and that's a country that you are not very sure with your money. You are not sure whether the economy will be stable very soon. And I think if we are to relate badly with those states that I will call diplomatic or rather foreign states that help us as a nation, but hata kama wakitusaidia, tunachukua loans mingi sana from them, and these loans will accumulate and even affect the next generation and generations to come. So if the country is to clean the mess that is there, the president aanze hapa, clean your mess at home, because there is a lot that is happening, these abductions, this everything. If kama saa hiyo issue tumeongelea hapa ya fake stamps, not fake stamps rather, but rather stamps zinapotea from KRA. If such news zinafikia the foreign nations and they want to invest, other traders they will fear to come and even cooperate or work with you. So I really think as a country, mimi hata nimeshindwa niseme nini sasa. Mtu amekwambia amefika mwisho.
Amefika mwisho, ati wacha igwe venye itakuwa. So Ojua, what do you think about this feeling of that NGOs are going to be exiting our country because we are lacking funding, the economy is getting bad, accountability is becoming expensive? What do you think about it?
It's sad, lakini tunafaa to learn. Tunafaa tusome. Sisi kama Wakenya, na Wakenya wanisikize vizuri zaidi, tumekuwa kwa shida ya kusaidiwa for so long, tukaingia kwa comfort zone such that hatuwezi jisaidia. Since 2001 to 2024, USAID imepea Kenya 1.26 trillion in counting. USAID wanakuwaga wamejaza facilities nchi yetu. But kutoka 2001 to 2024, Kenya imeishi kupewa huu usaidizi, ARVs sana sana. Hatuwezi work bila US kusema. Tuko na Kenya Medical Research Institute Cambridge. Kenya kutoka 2001, tuseme hiyo ndo time USAID imeanza kusaidia Kenya sana. To 2024, hawajawahi pata dawa yenye inahusu ama vaccine yenye inahusu HIV. Saa hizi wa Kenya wanalia wanasema, hatuna ARVs, tutafanya nini? Saa hizi wa Kenya wanalia wanasema, hatuna USAID na hizo facilities zingine zao. To a point, NGOs wanataka kuhama Kenya. As a president, kama ingekuwa mimi, ningetengeneza nchi yetu design yenye tunajisupport. Nchi inajisupportigi from food security. Tunajikuzia chakula chetu. Si tunapeleka watoto shule. Hizi country ka USAID ikifika hapa inafaa itusaidie kusoma, kujua, research ni nini, ndio tujifanyie zetu. But sisi tunaitumiaga kama ng'ombe na sisi ni kupe. Tunyonye tu, tunyonye, tufinye tukufe. Not tunyonye, tupate nguvu ya kujitengenezea ng'ombe yetu. Tuko na Cambridge.
Okay.
But we still focus on USAID. So saizi NGOs wao wanalia. Mimi ningekuwa rais saizi, nafaa nitengeneze nchi yetu vile inaweza kujisustain. Tuko na Chandari Innovation Center pale hivyo Kenyatta University that is doing good. Imeweza kuleta Wakenya wengi pamoja na kutengeneza vitu, including such a case in 2020 when the corona pandemic hit Kenya. University students from Kenyatta University waliungana from med to pharmacy, wakaingia Chandaria, wakatengeneza ventilation ya kusaidia watu. Wakatengeneza ventilator ya kusaidia watu walikuwa wanaumia wakiwekwa huko HDU, ICU juu ya corona. Meaning tuko na power, tuko na akili, tuko na hizi vitu zote. But tumezoea kupewa. As a president, empower hao kutengeneza. As a president, empower kilimo ndo watu wapate chakula. Tuwache kulia GMO. Ati watu wanasema nchi nyingine, msipochanja ng'ombe zenyu, hatutakula nyama zenyu. Kwani ni must? Hatujakula nyama ya kutosha ndo tuanze kuuza nje. Wewe tengeneza wanyama wako vile tulizoea, indigenous ways. Tuuzie sisi unajua kwa nini hatukuli hiyo nyama sisi? Juu ni expensive sana yetu, unaona ng'ombe zikitembea huko zinakula mpaka makaratasi. Hakuna nyasi, hakuna nini. Wewe mwingine anakuambia usipo vaccinate hatuwanunui. No, watengeneze usivaccinate. Sisi tutanunua.
Okay.
Tengeneza bei. Kule Burkina Faso wako na the first ever tomato processing industry factory. Na inafanya. Hata sisi tuko na industry Mumias. Akina sheka hao watoto wazee wenye ni millennials wanasemaga walisomeshwa na pesa za miwa. Saizi miwa hakuna, watu hawapandi. Skari hadi inabidi tukule fake.
Mercury.
Iye tuko na nguvu, tuko na capability. Agoni yenye huko Isiolo, unajua Isiolo ni ya Texas. Ni ya Texas kule hivyo tunaweza fikiria vile tutapanda tutengeneze vitu, kuna hadi mafuta hapo hivyo juu huku Turkana. We have a lot of resources, we have everything. Tuko na pesa sisi kama Kenya. Tuache kulia huko nje. Si hata Uhuru Kenyatta alisema, mbona tunalia? Wewe panga nchi yako. USAID tuhitaji. Okay. Tunahitaji saizi juu tumejifanya maskini sana, hatuwezi tengenezea. But tukakachi sasa si imeondoka. What will we do?
We have to find ways on how we are going to deal with it. Now, as we conclude, because time is really not on our side, Benson, in 1 minute, we have complained about bad governance of this country. Now, what would you prefer it be done differently by your leaders in this country as a parting shot?
I think our country needs a change, or rather we need leaders to know that the power comes from the people. So if we elect them to work, and work, they should work well. Avoid corruption at all costs, and everyone who is caught engaging in corruption should be shown the next tree and hang himself there or themselves there. If we are to work like that, then fast forward our country will be well and good. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Benson. Ojwang, in 1 minute. Ojwang, najua wewe ni journalist, lakini in 1 minute, give us a parting shot.
Nifunge. Parting shot yangu itakuwa to the youths of this country. Napenda youth inclusion sana, juu mimi kijana, najua one day nitazeeka. In fact, saizi niko 32, najua nazeeka. State abuses cost taxpayers billions in restitution for torture and detention. Mabilioni ya pesa yalitumika ndo watu wafinywe zaidi. Wewe kama kijana mahali huko, please take a chance to reread and read. Usianze na kuread, najua ushasoma. So reread and read again your constitution. Make sure whatever you have read, peleka your energy, peleka your education to your community. When they told us that a candle, lighting a candle does not make mind dim, it makes the whole world brighter. Starts now. We've had people who did amazing work, like one Mambo Botela, who we are right now saying rest in peace, honoring his work as a journalist and as a media person. His voice being so on demand, such that people who are committing a coup wanamwendea kwake, wanamwambia amka, hiyo sauti yako lazima iseme. We are supposed to have such voices, all of us. Juu kila mtu ako na mdomo, kila mtu amesoma, hakuna kutenganisha. And tutengeneze hii nchi. Tuache kusikia tunapoteza mabilioni ati ndio watu wakuwe tortured and detention. Haya mabilioni ya kununua risasi na bunduki sio hazifai kuwa za kutuua sisi. Risasi na bunduki zinafaa kutumika uko nje tukiprotect territory yetu. Sio sisi. Hatununui tia gasi tuue sisi. Tunanunua tia gasi mtumie kusaidia nchi ku keep law and order. Shida ni ati lawlessness inaanza na wao.
Quite unfortunate. Thank you so much. That's a very powerful point to end our engagement this morning. Thank you so much, Ojwang, and thank you so much, Kelvin Benson, a journalist. Many thanks for having you this morning on this interview or on this engagement. Now, I'll just read a quick feedback from our viewers back at home. We have Joram Kimani. He says, hello KUTV, say hi to Consolata. I'm tuned in to Biashara Tuesday. That Consolata was on our earlier conversation where we had a discussion on women in leadership. She is a youth leader aspiring to be a women representative in Laikipia County, come 2027. If you missed that discussion, please follow it up. It is on this live, ukirudi nyuma utaipata, and it will also be posted on our social media platforms. So at KUTV Kenya. So make sure you get onto that discussion if you missed out. We also have Francis Washrui saying, these are the comments that I already read. So we have Paul Kamau. He says, KU tuned in. Thank you so much, Paul. We have MCAD. He's saying, political games being played in Kenya is tough and it will get sweeter after Odinga's election. I think that is a reaction from a discussion we're having on what next after post-AU election. Thank you so much, MCAD, for tuning and for staying with us. We have Lucy Kerie, say hey Sylvia, watching from Migori. Thank you so much, Lucy. Hao ni watu wa home. Wako bumper to bumper. Lucy Kerie also saying the show is lit. Thank you so much for everyone who tuned in this morning. If you missed any part, just go back and you will get it. You will get it on KUTV Kenya. It is a week for the lovers. Kama hautapewa flowers, next time panda yako. Kama hautapewa flowers, please keep your comments short because mambo ni mengi. Thank you so much. This is KUTV Rise Today, Biashara Tuesday. Until next week, have a good week.